Ripple and XRP, the new banking system. In today's video, we're going to discuss the transformation from traditional finance to decentralized finance and then coming together. So it's not that the 5% in crypto is going to transform the 95%, as David Schwartz said. They are going to where the 95% are. And what I will tell you is over the next 24 months, your banks that told you to look this way with crypto are going to be asking to custody your crypto, saying things like, oh, did you remember this exchange that collapsed? We have institutional grade custody. They're going to do it on the guides of safety, protection. Think about this for just a moment. Problem, reaction, solution. There's a problem that's created that creates a reaction to people, and the person who created the problem comes up with a solution. It's been the same game over and over and over again. So on this channel, this is not get rich quick. This is not hopium. This is not price predictions. This is not hype. This is fundamental, long-term discipline and consistency, because that's how winning is done. So when the markets are going completely red, we're celebrating and buying the fundamental cryptos that we believe are going to be here in the long term. When the markets are going absolutely green and people are in euphoria, we're calmly exiting on the way up and feeding our capital DR ecosystem to build consistency, to build diversification, protection, and legacy. We keep it simple. We touch some grass, we spend time with our family, and we keep it in right order. So as we go through this today, we're going to show a video from Monica Long, and then I'm going to remind you of all the things that Ripple is actually doing, and XRP is at the center of all of this. So let's dive right in. So remember, traditional bank is going to transform into DeFi. Now, what I mean by that is traditional banks are going to be working to do institutional grade custody. They're going to be going into tokenization. For example, JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon told you to run from crypto as fast as you could, but they created their own blockchain technology, JPM coin, which became Onyx, and I think it's now called Lynx. That is blockchain technology. Okay, it's cryptocurrency. They have their own coin. Okay, now at the back end of this year, JP Morgan announced that you can use Bitcoin as collateral for loans. Okay, there's mortgage companies coming out where you can use Bitcoin as collateral for loans. Bitcoin is going to be a new store of value. And then you got to pay attention to, and you got to figure out which fundamental cryptos will be here in the long term. Okay, so we're going to watch this video from Monica Long, and then we're going to go over all the facts, figures, numbers, logic, and all the things happening with Ripple, the company, and knowing that XRP is at the center of all of this.
We have a lot of folks watching who are ardent XRP, enthusiasts, the XRP army. What kind of message can you tell them about the growth plans and, what's sitting in their wallets right now?
Yeah, I mean, within Ripple, so of course we have a commercial business where we're serving financial institutions with that digital asset infrastructure, and then we also have a team that's purely dedicated to the ledger and continued innovation. I hope people been following, developers been following over the past couple of years the amount of new features that we've put up for amendment. Next up is a lending protocol. So there's a lot of investment internally in just expanding the use cases and capabilities, and then also to bring more institutions in their use cases, like stablecoins being a great example, onto XRP Ledger. Ripple team overall, we think about the flywheel effect between utility, trust, and liquidity in XRP. And, we put a lot of work into utility.
Cool. It's coming, guys. Stay calm, stay stoic. Remember, your emotions are their profits. Okay. The markets are just human emotions. That's all it is. Somebody's winning, somebody's losing. There's only interest in the system. Okay, I'm going to show you a video tomorrow where Larry Fink continues to share the Sarin narrative, guys. When you're worried about your debasement of your currency, Bitcoin's a good move. That's why BlackRock is the #2 holder in Bitcoin. That's why many people are running into gold and silver. There is a debasement of our currency. It's clear. This isn't like hype or conspiracy. You can see it. Since 1913, your currency has lost 96 to 97% of its purchasing power. They're going to lower interest rates. In a printing and print tons of money, it's going to debase your currency, guys. So you're taught to be save your money, save your money, save your money, getting 1% when you're not even close to beating inflation. So inflation is crushing you and your investments aren't even beating inflation. You're in the hole every single year and you're heading towards retirement. You got to wake up. We got to learn how to beat the hurdle rate, guys. Okay, so I'm going to remind you Again, partnerships just keep coming out every single week with Ripple. So this is a new partnership. So it's called Palisade has been acquired by Ripple. Our wallet as a service platform will help power Ripple's next gen custody and payments infrastructure, bringing our technology to businesses worldwide. Same team, now an enterprise scale. Another partnership, okay? And I'm going to remind you of all these to keep you focused. Ripple agrees to acquire prime broker Hidden Road for $1.25 billion and one of the largest deals in the digital asset space. That was on April 8th, 2025. Ripple and Rail came together. Rail and Ripple unlocking the future of global payments, guys. You got to understand what's actually happening here. They are dominating the space. They're buying up massive companies. Ripple breaks into corporate treasuries, okay, with 1 billion GT treasury acquisition. San Francisco, California, October 16th. Ripple, the leading provider of digital assets infrastructure for enterprises, today announces its 1 billion acquisition of G Treasury, the global leader in treasury management systems. The deal marks significant expansion for Ripple, immediately opening up the multi-trillion-dollar corporate treasury market and access to many of the largest, most successful corporate customer. GT Treasury brings 4 decades of experience supporting treasury operations for the world's most recognized brands. Ripple-backed Evernorth eyes 1 billion IPO to become the world's largest XRP treasury. And I'm here to tell you guys, you're going to start to see. So you see, Michael Saylor was the first Bitcoin treasury. So you had MicroStrategies, which became a Bitcoin company, Strategy B. Strategy B was the first Bitcoin treasury, revolutionary. And there's hundreds of companies on the S&P becoming Bitcoin treasuries. Now, why would they do that? Think about this for just a moment. Warren Buffett pulled into a ton of cash. Why would he pull into a ton of cash? Look at the Warren Buffett indicator. The stock market is extremely overvalued, guys. We've been in a bull market forever. Like when people are like, oh my God, where's the bull market? We've been in a bull market for a long time, guys. The markets are completely overheated. I mean, it's like a car that's on full blast right now, guys. I mean, and they're going to lower rates and print money. You have to listen to what I'm saying. What goes up must come down. In the academy tomorrow, I'm talking about Reaganomics, guys. Go study what happened with Reagan. Okay, he came in with high inflation. He lowered interest rates. He printed a ton of money. The markets boomed. But guys, after markets boom and debasement of currency, there's always hyperinflation. So yes, the markets might boom over the next 3 years, and everybody's rich in the stock market. But remember, only 10% of the population controls most of the stock market. Most of the people complaining about the stock market aren't even in the stock market. So it's like, think about this for just a moment, guys. Really think about what I just said logically. If 10% of the people in the United States, mostly the United States, are in the stock market, okay, what's happening is these things that Trump and all of them are doing are to help them. So these dips are for them to buy more. They make money off stocks, investments, real estate, cryptocurrency. Okay. They don't make money by holding it in a savings account. We don't store our money in the savings account. We move our money. Okay. What they want the working class to do is put your paycheck, and they take your paycheck and they make it current. That's what we do. That's capital DR. Okay. Ripple backed Evernorth. Oh, I already talked about that. Lost my train of thought there. Evernorth to go public with over 1 billion of gross proceeds. Just keeping you guys grounded here. XRP ETF launches seeing to trigger $5 billion bonanza. We know with the government shutdown, we're sitting on some. Does he talk about it here? Okay, that's Bitwise. The launch of the spot XRP exchange traded funds will trigger traders to invest $5 billion into funds within the first few months of trading. That's according to several executives of ETF issuers who either launched their funds this week or are among the ones waiting approval. And just to remind you guys, Ripple is applied to be a bank charter. Ripple will be a bank, guys. This is the actual document here to apply to be a bank. Ripple will be a bank. Coinbase will be a bank. Okay. Kraken will be a bank. Eventually, you won't even have to Like, well, you heard Monica Long. She said we're getting into lending protocols. Just like World Liberty Financial, Trump's going to have his own DeFi bank. Ripple will have its own DeFi bank. Coinbase will have its own DeFi bank. Kraken will have its own DeFi bank. You guys won't even have to leave the exchange. You'll be able to do your bill pay. You'll be able to lend. And we get to participate with the banks. That's decentralized finance. So when we put $1 million, that's why the banks are freaking out right now, guys. This government shutdown is much bigger than we think, guys. The Clarity Act gives clear rules of the road. The Stablecoin Act allows us to earn off of some of these stable coins. The banks are panicking because why would I store my money in a regular bank when I can put it on Coinbase, my USDC right now, and earn, if I lend it out to somebody, I could make 7%. We got to think about this, guys. There's a massive transition. And through the transition, you got to make sure you're in fundamental cryptos that you believe in. Don't ever invest in something you don't believe in. Okay, I'm going to remind you what Brad Garlinghouse says. He said this on October 24th. With today's close of Hidden Road, now Ripple Prime, Ripple has announced 5 major acquisitions, in 2 years. G Treasury last week, Rail in August, Standard Charter in 2024, Metco in 2023, as we continue to build solutions towards enabling an internet of value. I am reminding you, all the XRP sits at the center of everything Ripple does. Lock in, baby. All right. So this is what the markets look like right now. This is Merlin's smartest way to track your crypto. This is an interface. Doesn't hold your keys or crypto. This is seeing all your cryptocurrency in one place, keeps you organized, keeps you safe, keeps you understanding how to take profits. That's what we do. We take profits, right? That's why we win. We're not rubberneckers. We don't watch things go up and down. So the markets right now, they rebounded a little bit. We're at 102. That got a little scary yesterday for people, right? Dropped under 100,000 BTC, kind of held its ground. Now it's going back up. Ethereum's at 3,300. XRP's at $2.27. So as you can see with Merlin, you can see all your assets in one place, all your exchanges in one place. Look at this. All your daily gains and losses, keeps you organized. You can look at your total cost basis, your total value, and beautiful enough, you can set up an exit plan. This is the key to winning in cryptocurrency markets. Okay, we take profits because we build ecosystems. We build cash flow through dividends. Okay, we build cash generating businesses through our profit taking, and we build safety through protection. And then what we do is we responsibly leverage with no liquidation on our asset side or insurance side, and then we buy more assets. So when everything's red, we borrow. I'm gonna talk about hurdle rate in just a moment. But if you want to get started, guys, if you need help, you can try it 30 days for free. Description of my YouTube video here, or click my social media platform. Go to the how-to videos. You can play around with it for 30 days. You will absolutely love it. Go to our how-to videos right here. We show you how to do an exit plan. If you get stuck, boom, we got amazing customer service. All right, so let me bring you on my screen. So the thing that you want to study is inflation, right? Okay, so let's talk about hurdle rates. So if inflation is at 3%, they run about 3% inflation. That's what they say. Inflation's like 10%, guys, but they tell you it's 3%, right? So this is not exact math, but about 3% inflation every 35 years, your value of your currency gets cut in half because it's not backed by anything. Okay. So they're about to lower interest rates. Okay. Again, and they're going to print more money. So what does that mean? Larry Fink, I'm going to show you again tomorrow. He keeps saying when you're worried about your country's debasement of your currency, guys, there's more debt than there is income. So there's only an interest marker. You're on the asset side or you're on the debt side. There's no middle ground. And the cash that you hold is someone else's debt. So if you're holding a bunch of cash, you're holding debt that's worth less. Okay. So when you put your money into a bank, they dam it up. So if you put $1 million into a bank, okay, this will explain my capital DR. You put $1 million in the bank, they give you what? 0.1%, 1%, maybe if you're lucky. Okay. So you're getting 1% on $1 million. What are they doing with that money? They're lending it out at 6% for an auto loan. They're lending out at a mortgage at 5.6%, maybe a credit card at 19 to 23%, depending on someone's credit score. They're making your money current. They're putting it in the capital markets. That money just doesn't sit there. They're lending it out overnight, trade loans back and forth to other countries. Money is moving all the time. Your money just doesn't sit there. It's not safely just waiting for you to use it. Okay. So what we do is we put ourselves in first position. So what I do is I focus on cash flow, capital DR, cash flow, appreciating assets that have fixed supply. When I profit, I stuff it into cash value life insurance. We use them properly. They need cash in them. They need to be funded properly. They're not retirement policies. We use them as no liquidation risk to beat the hurdle rate. And I'll explain that in just a moment. Then we have leverage. That's the L in capital DR. Leverage responsibly, because leverage is like a match. It'll burn your house down or it'll warm it. Depends on whose hands it in. And then DR is de-risk, de-risk, de-risk. Everybody rubbernecks. They watch an asset go up. Favorite influencer tells them, never sell it, never sell it. We don't watch it go up. We take money off the table and we build massive ecosystems, okay? Because nothing ever just goes straight up and nothing ever lasts forever. There are things that have been here for a long time. It's called Richest Man in Babylon, the wisdom of King Solomon, okay? So here's exactly how I do it. So cash flow wise, in 2020 to 2022, when I went through this big bull run, I took money out of the markets. I exited. I held some for moon bags. Okay. I always keep some on the side. We're going to move Bitcoin over and never touch it. Okay. It's gold. It's going to be in leverage. Okay. But altcoins, I exit 50%. I hold 50% forever just in case, the these hopium people are right. Okay. And I, of course, a long-term hold for legacy. Then when I take money off the table, I'm only taking money off the table because I'm going to put every single dollar to use. Richest man in Babylon. Okay, the first thing that I do is I max fund my policies when I profit. Okay, well, let's go back to cash flow. Sorry, I skipped that. Cash flow. So from my income, from the cash flow I created in bull run number 1, is every time I get paid, I take 10% and I put it into dividend stocks. Okay, so I take my income, I take 10% of my income and I make more income. Okay, so that compounded over time. It continues to compound. So there's high risk, medium risk, and low risk. I'm operating in high risk, but remember de-risk. I de-risk out every single month. Like I have all my dividends hitting this Monday coming up. Boom. And I'll explain that in just a moment. So when cash comes in, 10% goes into more cash. The excess outside of debts and non-negotiables, I stuff it into things that are outside of debasement of currency. I like to use XRP and Bitcoin. I like fixed supply assets. I believe they're going to be here for the future, but that's what I believe because based on my research and my knowledge and my understanding. So that's what I did. So 2020 to 2024, I did that. People thought I was crazy, but my XRP went up 800%. My Bitcoin went up 200%. Okay. Will that continue to happen? I believe it'll continue to grow, but I don't know exactly what the percentages are going to be, but it's damn well beating the hurdle rate, right? Because you have inflation, guys. You're not even beating inflation. You're borrowing at 6% for an auto loan and you have 3% inflation. You have to beat that hurdle rate with your investment to even get ahead. You're in the hole. So I'm getting way ahead of inflation. Okay. So then I have these assets that are growing over time. You see this and I see this. I look at the long term. I don't care about red days. I don't care about green days. There's red is green and green is exit on the way up. Okay. Calmly. So when these assets go up, I pull some off the table. First thing I do is max fund my policies protection. I put money into my policies because that creates a family bank. It ensures my wealth. Nobody can touch it. Okay. They need money in them. They need to be structured properly and they need to be funded properly. That's why the insurance industry gets a bad rap. So what it creates for me is L, leverage. So in my insurance policy, I can borrow at 5%. So if I have 100 grand in there, eventually, if it's fully max funded and, if you put 100,000 in, you can't borrow all of it right away. But say I can borrow 60,000. I can borrow 60,000 at 5%. The insurance company's money, tax-free, that's a 5% hurdle. If inflation is 8, let's just use a 5% hurdle, keep it simple. I borrow at 5, that money still exists in my cash value, getting market-like returns. I take the 60 and I don't sit there and buy Lambos and Ferraris. I buy cash flow. I buy assets that blow away the 5%. So you're taking richest man in Babylon. You're taking $1, you're making 2, you're taking the 2 and you're making 3. So I'll buy a dividend that pays back the loan and I'll put some of it into Bitcoin that'll grow 50% every year. That's what wealthy do. Do you move money to beat the hurdle rate? Okay, so now I'm in capital DR number 2. I built capital DR number 1 in the bull run to 2020 to 2022. And then I fed the ecosystems of 2024. Now I'm a capital DR number 2. Okay. And then I'm going to go into capital DR number 3 in the next bull run. And I de-risk. If you're in my academy, I talk about it all the time. De-risk. I'm in high risk, high return dividends. And every time I get paid, I suck that liquidity out and I put it in Bitcoin and XRP. So with my income, I'm dollar cost averaging in Bitcoin and XRP every single day, excuse me. If there's a big dip like the dip yesterday, I'm like, choo. I get more. Okay. I buy more because I'm a long-term person. Okay. Then with my dividends, every single week, my dollar cost average is much larger because when my dividends pay me, I'm out, man. I'm de-risking out. That way that if there's NAV erosion, I'm getting my income out into assets that I believe are going to be here. So every week, every day, my asset side is growing. Okay. And so that's called an ecosystem. That's called discipline. That's called consistency. And I de-risk into insurance, into Bitcoin, into XRP. That feels safe to me. Maybe it's gold, maybe it's silver, maybe it's real estate. I don't know what it is for you, but that's what feels safe for me. Okay. And it's worked. It's working really well. It's because I have a system. I'm not waiting for price predictions. I'm not waiting for dates. I'm not focused on riddlers. I'm following a disciplined, consistent plan, physically, spiritually, and financially. That's how winning is done. So I hope that helps. I'll continue to bring this information to you guys. I want to make an announcement here. We do not invest people's crypto. We do not have an investment platform, a trading platform. I'm not DMing you on WhatsApp. I'm not DMing you on Telegram. I'm not DMing you proactively on Instagram. I'll never ask you to send us crypto. There's people using my videos around Web3, wallets are not safe. Stay away from all that stuff, guys. Okay. I have what's called a 3T Warrior Academy. It's in the description of this video down below or in my social media platform. We are financial educators. We do not invest people's money. We educate people and empower them to make their own decisions. We teach you the capital DR strategy. We show you what we do. Okay. We don't tell you what to do. We educate you on how to do it. We're educators. So that's very, very important. Never send anybody your crypto ever, ever, ever. And you'll see these barcodes. A lot of people are sending this to me. There's these barcodes on the Ripple Swell thing. Those are scams, guys. Don't send anybody your crypto. Don't trust anybody with your crypto. Okay. Unless you know them personally, you can pick up the phone and you know their phone number. Don't send your crypto to anybody. I know you want to believe that it's not. Trust me, it's not. Your favorite influencer is not reaching out to you to save you. They're not. Okay. I'm speaking for all the influencers out there. And you can also report these scam accounts. We are spending a lot of income every single month. We have a whole team during the day monitoring this. And then at night, we have AI technology monitoring this. We're taking down thousands and thousands of fake accounts, and it just keeps popping up. But we're going to keep attacking it. We're going to keep putting it out there. But you could help us by helping us report them in my social media platform. Right on the top, you can report any scam account that is reaching out to you, and our team will aggressively go out there and take them down. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. As we always say, warriors, let's get your shit together. God bless you.